Hey guys, Matt from the Running 43. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a how-to video on running a Lionel Legacy engine off the MTH DCS controller. It's very easy, and in this video I'll show you everything you need to have and how to run it. So let's take a look. Okay, so the first thing you'll need is this. This is a 9-pin serial cable. Now, you might be thinking, Matt, is it just a 9-pin serial cable? Well, it's really not. This is sold under MTH's product number 50-1032, and this is a special 9-pin serial cable. And the reason as to why it's special is because on this end here, the one that connects up to the Legacy or TMCC base, 2 of the pins are reversed, so that way it can communicate with the Lionel base, and it can run your Lionel trains. So you cannot use a standard serial cable. You have to buy this specific one. It's only about 20 bucks. It's not really expensive, but this is what you need. Now, this end here goes to the Legacy or the TMCC. Now, I have a Legacy base, so you hook this up to your Legacy or your TMCC, whatever you have, and then this goes to your TIU. Now you see these little screws on the end. I'll explain what these are for in a minute. And this end here does not have those extra screws, and again I'll explain why. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get this set up. So now also this is taped. I taped this. It does not come like this. And the reason as to why I taped it is because this thing is 6 foot long. So there's no reason as to why I need all 6 feet of that cable, so I just taped it so it's a little easier. So this end here is going to go to our Legacy base, and I'll spin the Legacy base around so you can see this a little bit better. And then the other end here is going to go to our TIU. So let me get this connected and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have our cable set up. This end here is again connected to our Legacy base or TMCC, whatever you have. It also has a fuse in line with it. That's what this black thing is. And then this connects. Now when you connect it, the part with the 4 pins is facing the top of the base. The part with the 5 pins is facing the bottom. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. Then on the side here they have these little locking screws that you tighten. Just like this. And these I did not put the extending screws on. The reason as to why is because I don't need them. The connection is tight without them, so therefore that's all you need. Now up here, here's the part that connects to the TIU. Now I put the extending screws on here because if you have it the way it is without the extending screws, it doesn't really fit securely in there. With the extending screws, it fits much nicer. Now, another thing that may come to mind would be, hey Matt, I have a Legacy, a TMCC base, and the DCS. How would I hook up the Legacy and the TMCC base together and still connect them to the DCS? That's where this cable comes in. This is the Y cable that you get with the Legacy controller. And as you guys can see here, it has 3 ends on it. This end here, which is labeled a command base, goes to your TMCC or your Cab 1L, whatever base you have. This end here will go to your Legacy base. And the other end, this one, which says serial comm on it, this is the one that you would connect this cable here to. So that's how you would configure this. Now I don't have a TMCC or a Cab 1L base. I do want to get one, and I'll explain why in a couple of minutes. But that's how you would connect that up if you had both bases plus the DCS. Okay, so now that you have the cable set up the way you want it, and again, if you're running the Legacy and the TMCC base, you use the Legacy Y cable and this cable here. If you use just the Legacy base and the DCS like I do, you use just this cable and connect it to the TIU. Now the only thing you have to do now after you connected the cable is you have to add a black Legacy control wire. And what that will do is when you got it set up here, what it'll do, it'll allow the MTH system to communicate with the tracks that you have so you can run your Lionel trains. and these go to the output side of the tracks that you're running. I only have 2 because I only have 2 tracks that I run, and they're connected to the ground of each track, and that's how that goes. So now we can go ahead and take a look at our locomotive that we're going to run off the MTH controller. Okay, so now once you've connected the legacy base and the MTH system together, whether you've done just the legacy base and the MTH, or the legacy base, the TMCC or Cab 1L base, and the MTH system, now it's time to actually program the engine or engines into the system. Now as for me, today I have my Burlington F3AB set, and actually these engines, I programmed them as the same ID number because I've tried programming them separately and it hasn't worked. So I just programmed them the same number and everything seems to work. So we're going to program them right now. So let's take a look. Okay, so I got the track power turned on. So the first thing you guys are going to want to do, you're going to want to go into here where the program run switch is. Now on your engine it may be different, but we're going to go ahead and program these here. Alright, so now we got them programmed. So now we're going to go to the menu, the system menu. We're going to go to engine setup. I'm going to add engine. I'm going to add a TMCC engine this time. Now I should stop here and tell you, I do mean TMCC engine. Now by this you mean you run a legacy engine just like you would with a TMCC. So you cannot get some of the advanced legacy features like the quilling horn, the train brake, the brake control like this here. So you can't get like the quilling horn, the train brake you can't do this. You also cannot do sequence control. So some of the more advanced legacy only features you can't do on this, but you do have basic control over the engine. So we're going to add a TMCC engine. And then now it's going to ask us for the name. Now I'm going to skip ahead so you guys don't have to look at me do this. But I'm going to do Burlington F3 ABA number 9962 on here. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I got the naming done. Now I abbreviated Burlington. And then we got F3 ABA number 9962. So now we're going to hit the D for done. And then now it's going to ask us for the address. Now, again, you probably already have this programmed into your controller of whatever variety you have. So we got it here is engine 62. So that's exactly the number we're going to use on this. Alright, so we're going to go into here. Now instead of scrolling through 1 to 62, you can just hit 62. And there it is. So now all you got to do is hit the thumb wheel. Now it's going to say it's added the engine. As you can see, our lights and everything are already turned on. So now, the only thing we have to do is we have to activate the engine. So it's already in the inactive engine list. That's how it comes from the factory. And then you just hit the thumb wheel on the engine you want. And then there it is. Now before you run it, the one thing you want to do is you want to make sure you put the program run switches back into run. And if your engine has a cover on it, obviously put those back on. Okay, so now that we have the engine all programmed in and we set the program run switch back to run, it's time to go ahead and run our train. So on our MTH remote, we have our TMCC engine called up, and again, you run this engine in TMCC mode. Even though it is a legacy, you cannot access some of the advanced legacy features. I don't know when or if you can, but if there ever comes a time when you can, I definitely will do a video on how to do it. But anyway, we'll go ahead and run it like this. So to start it up, you can hit the startup button or the aux1 key. I'm going to use the startup button to fire it up. Okay, so now that we got it fired up, you can see all of our lights are on. I'm going to turn the volume down so I don't have to scream over top of this thing. Alright, good. So now you guys can hear me a little bit better. Okay, so on this now, we got the aux1 key highlighted, and that will, once you hit that, that will bring up the numeric icons. Let me do it like this so you guys can see a little bit better. Now the features that are here, the smoke, the volume, all this, these are not actually what they are. What they are, like on your legacy controller, they're these: your volume up, your crew talk, your RPMs, all that different stuff. That's what all these features are. So you may or may not know what all the buttons are. If you know the legacy buttons good enough, you'll know what they are. I know what they are, but in case you don't, that's just your reference there. So like if you want to do the crew talk, you just hit the 2 button.
Dispatcher here, please hold for track orders. Over. Roger that, out.
Now it should be noted, when you do the aux1 button for the first time, it will do the standby crew talk, but when you let it sit for about 10 seconds or so, it will do the clear head crew talk. So let's do the tower comm now.
Dispatcher here, you are cleared, pull, over. Copy, we have that clear, out.
So that's that, so we'll get it rolling now. We'll do the bell. The horn, now when I hit the horn, you're not going to get the 3 levels, you're just going to get what it gives you. And then to do the RPMs, it does not automatically do them. You actually have to hit the 3 and 6 button to get them going. So what we'll do is I'll go ahead and focus on the remote for just a minute so you guys can see what I'm pressing. And then we'll hook it up to some cars and run it. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and hook it up to some cars to change the direction. Just hit the red direction button. You can see we got our backup lights on. And then we'll just roll it up. And then we'll get going here. Now if you have an engine that has the coupler functions, the F coupler button will throw the front coupler, and the R button will throw the rear coupler. Now in mine, the rear coupler is actually the front coupler on the rear A unit, but I don't have it, so that coupler right there is a dummy coupler. So I just have to kind of hook it up manually. But let me hook it up and then we'll start running some trains.
I'm made up. Am I cleared outbound? Over. Affirmative, the track is yours. Over. We are underway. Over. Acknowledged. Have a good run. Out. Dispatcher, are we cleared through the walk? Yes, you have a clear track. Over. Lake dispatcher, green light ahead. Out. Dispatcher here. All clear inbound. Over. We have that clear. Out. Dispatcher here, you're lined up and clear inbound. Over. Copy that. Out. Dispatcher, I'm in the clear, waiting on instructions. Over. Copy that. Welcome back. Out. See you next trip. Signing off. Out.
Okay, so there you guys have it. That was just a quick little run with the Lionel engine off the MTH controller, and actually it's kind of fun. Now again, you can't access all the features off this, but you do get a good number of the features, and I think it's pretty cool. So now what I'll quickly do is describe the reasons as to why you would want to do this. The real reason why you would want to do this is because, let's say you had a friend come over to run some trains, and he's brand new to trains, he doesn't know a lot about them, and you want to show him some features that the trains do, and you have your legacy unit. And he chimes in and says, okay, I want to try some of these features. And you said, I can't give you this because I'm running it. I'll let you use this. And that's another thing, is this could be used as a secondary remote, which is really cool. So if you had multiple people come over to run trains, you could run this and someone else could run this, and everybody would be happy. Now again, you can't access all the features off this, but again, you do get a good number of the features, so it's kind of a win-win. Another reason, and the reason as to why I did this, is because let's say your legacy set has to go in for some reason. Let's say the remote stops working, or in our case, at the KTMR at least, now I'm on the PR Keystone, this is not the KTMR, but the middle row of buttons where the crew tuck, the shutdown, the smoke down, and the reset button are, on our remote, these stopped working. And when we got the remote back, it took about a month or so, and they actually gave us a whole new remote. So what I would do, if that would ever happen, was I would buy a TMCC or a Cab 1L base, whichever one I could find, which nowadays it's probably going to be the Cab 1L. I don't think I can find a TMCC base on like a regular hobby store. I don't buy from eBay. So otherwise, if I was to buy things from eBay, I'd have a whole bunch more trains, and I would buy a TMCC base, but I don't buy stuff from eBay. So anyways, so what I would use this for is I would buy a Cab 1L base, and when the legacy base is gone to get serviced or whatever it needs to do, I can use this to run my legacy engines. And again, I can't get all the features, but for the little bit of time that it would be out getting serviced or whatever, it would be sufficient enough to run the trains with. So that's my real reasons to why I'm doing this. But again, you guys could do whatever you want, or you don't even have to do this if you want to, but whatever makes sense for you. But that was just a quick little video on it. I've been wanting to do it for a while, actually, ever since I got the cable, but I just haven't had the time. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. If you have any other questions on the DCS or anything that it does, just please put them in the comments, and I will be glad to do a video for you guys. So that's gonna wrap it up. Well, guys, I'll catch you later.